Welcome everybody to the 12.19 patch rundown. We're going to be talking about the new patch and like what I assume it means for the game. Because I'm not a top level analyst without like everything in my head immediately, this is going to be more of a brainstorming session. And you know, we're just trying to make predictions. The point is that everyone's ideas get out there and like we can kind of work on what this means together, right? I think I'm pretty smart. I think I'm pretty intuitive. I have a lot of intuition about like what predictions tend to mean, but I don't have encyclopedic knowledge, so I can be misled, right? That's all it is. What we do at the start of every patch rundown is we just very quickly revisit the previous patch to see if my predictions were accurate. So let's get going on that, right? Let's get going. This is going to take very little time, right? Ashe, what did I say? I said Ashe should deal more damage, support Ashe unaffected. You know, she's a little easier to pick. I think I was correct. Hecarim, what I said is it's a small damage and durability nerf. Hecarim's damage is no longer completely egregious, but is still high. Now, I was wrong about the Eclipse build being the weaker one. Hecarim's win rate actually fell a shit ton in solo queue, but we're still seeing him a lot at Worlds. We're still seeing him have success on some damage-oriented builds. We're still seeing him get optimized by the same things. So, ultimately, it's, it should be pretty much nothing, right? So, I was wrong about Eclipse. Syndra is the build that got harmed the most. Kalista, I said this change is usually a major nerf for short-range AD carries. However, specifically on Kalista, I didn't expect it to be super major because Kalista tends to not take much damage unless forcing an early trade. Her damage is unaffected. Yeah, she had a prior nerf before this, but that was also relatively minor and doesn't halt her primary win condition. She is still drawing bans at Worlds, which I think is a little telling to her power, but at the same time, like, Kalista's not always appropriately picked. I think she's still good at doing what she does. And she's reasonably fine, and so I feel I was pretty accurate about this. Kane, this says, Rost loses 3% max HP damage per target per Q per 100 AD, which is a meaningful loss in healing in ideal Rost positions on lethality builds. If he can't heal enough, then he's not useful. So I haven't actually followed up a ton on Kane. Have you guys seen fewer Kanes in your solo queue games? Because we can actually do like a very quick thing. I'm just going to check Kane's win rates because like Kane is the type of champion where it's like solo queue actually does translate to amateur pretty directly. He actually only lost about 1%. It is possible that I may have judged him too harshly. However, yeah, because like when you're playing like Plat, Diamond, Masters, Amateur play, then solo queue tendencies are still rewarded, right? This is only like actually top level where Kane would really fall off. So if solo queue is saying he didn't perform, or he didn't lose as much performance, then it seems I may have judged him slightly too harshly. It appears I judged Rost slightly too harshly, but still he is no longer like super strong, right? He is no longer. It appears I judged Kane slightly too harshly, but he's still not amazing in coordinated play. You know, there's like this realm of uncoordinated, coordinated, where he's still pretty good, right? You've not seen Kane? That's really surprising. Okay, Lee Sin. Was this very much for him? Nope. I said it wasn't much for him. That's fine. Okay, Lulu. My god, guys, the way pro players are talking about Lulu, you would think that, like, she died. You'd think that she's unpickable now. They're like, yeah, Lulu got giga nerfed. So what did I say? I said the quarter second off polymorph is an impactful nerf. CD change on a haste-reliant class isn't that major. At the end of the day, Polymorph is a point-and-click 2-second duration CC that's still valuable and not all of Lulu's output. I assessed this to be not as bad as some people are making it out to be, because this is not something to overreact to because Polymorph is still so good. This is, like, a big deal. It hurts. But, like, what the ability does is still good. Now, I think she should be rated a little lower than I was rating her before. I don't think Lulu is like, you know, because I still had Lulu very high in my tier lists. I think she's still a fine champion. She's still strong, but like I wouldn't be default blind picking her right now. It's kind of similar to Renata, especially since we're transitioning back to engaged supports, which for the record, literally just a symptom of the AD carry meta, and I don't think we should be. But I digress. I think I should probably move... Yeah. Lulu was harmed slightly more by this change than I expected, especially since her best skirmishing lanes are phasing out of the meta. Still strong, not top tier, and I will reassess my support tier list. Maokai. We said that these are borderline insignificant top and support nerfs, and he's just becoming an insane jungler. We were obviously right about that. Misfortune. Loses very little AD, should be negligible change. We were correct. Nocturne. This one I wasn't so sure about. I forgot, like, full follow-up on this one. It may have an extreme impact or may be overblown. Unfortunately, the only thing I can do is to check solo queue stats again, and I'm really, really becoming disillusioned with solo queue stats lately. Okay, it was absolutely negligible. It turned out to be negligible. I said it's either extreme or nothing, and I can't tell which, because tiny AD adjustments can make a big difference on champions like this. The change ended up being negligible. It was practically nothing. Because he lost 0.5 AD per level. That's it. Thresh, I said it's a buff in the right direction. He's getting multiple buffs over and over, but it's still not enough. I think I was right about that. Udyr. Durability meaningfully reduced. He loses quite a lot of HP against physicals. The expectation is that jungle Udyr is weaker because durability changes are extremely impactful, but Bear Udyr plus enchanters could become a problem. Is he more situational? Well, people started pivoting towards Triforce a lot. I do think jungle Udyr is less of a problem. I don't think we need to consider him in like the pick ban list as often. Especially since, like, you know, Phoenix is not running around becoming completely unkillable from the very beginning, right? I'm seeing that the people who pivoted to Trinity Force have been very much rewarded. I'm seeing that numbers on regular Sunfire Phoenix are still fine, so I think I was right. Udyr is still good, but I should now, like, remove him from, like, the top echelon of picks, I think. So, I think I was pretty accurate with my assessments on this patch, and the only one that I wasn't accurate on was the one where I had to admit that I just didn't know exactly how it was going to affect him, right? So that's very good. Now let's move on to patch 12.19. Here's the new patch. There is a lot in it. There are a lot of champions, big adjustments, a lot of buffs, a lot of funny ones, and a systems adjustment on Eclipse. So let's start. First of all, oh good lord, okay, Syndra. What is going to happen to Syndra? So it's worth reading in case... What's up? Kais is back. Hey, Dallas. Aw, Yi nerf. Yeah, rest in piss. I mean, I actually do think Yi has some value if you pick him with, like, a Giga Enchanter Hyper Carry comp. You know, like, Yi as primary carry, and then you pick some, like, Anchor secondary carry, 80 carry. But they keep nerfing him over and over, and he's just going to be irrelevant again pretty soon, I think. Syndra, we have to read all of this because some of it might have changed on PvE. Now, I haven't played the Syndra mid-scope. There are people in the community who's played the Syndra mid-scope. Let's see. She has a new passive, Transcendent. She collects up to 120 Splinters of Wrath via damaging enemy champions, just like Senna. It's 2 spells, and gaining levels. Splinters enhance Syndra and her abilities. She restores mana, which empowers her ability to trade early, which is a big deal. This is the same. Okay, at 120 Splinters, she gains 15% total AP. And so this guarantees, because this is still 40, right? Yeah, okay. Syndra will gain Q Evolve at level 9 without any kills when she maxes it. So she is losing some health. Dark Sphere cooldown is going up. The mana cost is going down. So basically this is going to reduce Syndra's ability to take long extended trades, which she was very good at before in lane, like early game. that ratio is going up a little bit, and Q is able to store 2 charges. The big thing about this is it makes it a lot easier for Syndra to get, like, high orb ultimates. So her ultimate is going to do quite a lot more damage as an ult-reliant champion. How much does that actually change with the rest of her abilities? Non-sphere units that Syndra picks up will now be unable to die while under Syndra's control. There was previously a very amount of... Okay, that's fine. W will deal an additional 15% true damage. What was her transcendent thing before? It was... Oh my god, no, why do you already have splinters here? The patch isn't even out yet, guys. Yeah, it's a really cool mechanic that they're adding. Why is it... Okay. So we're going to have to go to... We're going to actually have to go to Lolalytics to read Syndra's abilities, because the wiki has jumped the gun on updating. Ah, but we can't read her passive. I mean, passive is down here, right? No. Fuck. Oh, it's right here. Force of Will was 20% bonus true damage. Now it is 15% true damage, which is less than before. But the big thing about this is Syndra would always level QEW. So she would only get W at level 18. So it was basically nothing, right, through most of the game. Now, because this is 60 Splinters of Wrath, Syndra is going to be getting this much earlier than she would have previously, so that actually does increase her damage by a lot, and it means that her regular QW is just doing more damage throughout a fight. Which is big. I mean, especially since... Okay. That's fine. Scatter the weak, 15 seconds at all ranks. Slow duration here. Magic damage is down a little bit. The angle is much larger. Reduce the likelihood of Q not stunning targets at close range. Dark spheres spawned after casting Scatter the Weak are no longer fired as missiles. That's not good. That's pretty bad for her, actually. On 80 Splinters of Wrath, the cone is increased to almost 90 degrees, which is ridiculous. It's huge. And it also slows enemies by 70%. And then this one is just, you get more haste. And Unleash Power now executes. So, the TLDR is that Syndra gains more damage on her W around, like, level 13-ish. Wait, actually, it's 40-60. It's 9. So you only need, like, 20 more. 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, it's 13. It's 13. So if she kills literally nothing, it's 9, 13, 17. If she literally never trades and never kills and never farms cannons, that's when she gets her abilities upgraded. So her damage comes online earlier. As you level up, it is much, much easier to just spam Dark Spheres. You're getting a lot of A haste on this. It is easier for her ultimate to kill, so there's fewer situations where she just fails to kill somebody and then loses her purpose as a champion. So, I mean, basically, it's just a raw damage increase. That's what she's getting. She's getting a new goal in lane. She's going to be able to lane more effectively, just short trade over and over and over again, because she's restoring mana. And so this does actually make it seem like Syndra is going to be a much better champion. My expectation, okay. Mid-scope fundamentally doesn't change her role. It doesn't fundamentally change Syndra's role, but it makes her more effective at reaching her 100 to zeros, which is a big deal. She still boils down to achieving those, but her damage spikes much earlier, and her lane phase is more rewarding. Syndra is a staple of coordinated play when she's strong, and this will 100% help her a lot. Syndra's a much better champion now. It's just nothing but buffs. I mean, the only things that, yeah, it does suck to lose EQ mechanics, but everything else compensates. Like, 100% this compensates, right, guys? So Syndra's going to be incentivized to max, like, QWE as well, which is different. You're going to see Syndra in your games again. She's going to be much better in solo queue. She's going to be much better in coordinated play. She still fills the same role. She still has her early game setup. She still probably is a solo AP champion. Where just because her role is so tied to her ultimate, like, you still probably do want to avoid incentivizing magic resistance, but it is what it is. Let's move on to Blitzcrank. Very, very funny champion. So he is getting a lot of, like, bruiser-oriented upgrades, right? This is friggin' hilarious. I'm so happy about this. His base attack speed is going up. His attack speed ratio is going up to the tank 0.7, which is a big deal. Overdrive cost down. Bonus attack speed significantly increased. Attacks during W deal an additional 1% of target's max HP in magic damage. Against non-champions, this damage is increased by an extra flat damage. They have very explicitly reworded the actual tooltips to exclude turrets, so Blitzcrank is not going to walk up and auto-E a turret and kill it. Overdrive cost up. Oh, my mistake. Yeah, it's up. It's up, which very, very slightly powered. Yeah, all of these mana changes are very, very slightly powered down for support. Very slightly. Ultimately, it shouldn't matter too much because you're not, like, you can't fish anyway. So mana cost to 40, knockup duration is up to 1 second, empowered auto attack damage now has an AP scaling, and against non-champions, Blitzcrank's empowered E auto attack will deal a bonus big chunk of damage. Static field, minimum stacks from passive to unlimited. The magic damage from stacks on hit has a greater AP ratio that scales with levels, and the actual damage of the ultimate AP ratio is up. So what does this mean? First of all, I think AD Blitzcrank is still probably trolling, unfortunately. I think you still probably can't build like Trinity Plank or Trinity Crank, Crit Crank. I think you probably still should not do that. I cannot reliably predict what this will do to the top lane. Remember, top laners need reach, top laner, like the trinity of early laning is reach, base stats, and mobility. Blitzcrank does have the reach. I'm not convinced he's received any meaningful base stats for trading with people. I think his early game is probably too weak to be a proper top laner. The funny thing about this is, though, jungle Blitzcrank looks legitimate from what I've seen and tested, right? The first clear is susceptible to invades, and that alone is not going to allow Blitzcrank to be a top-tier pick. But he is a genuine pick that we might start seeing in rare situations if there's like a low-threat jungle matchup, and people should be exploring what it's capable of doing. Sunfire Nashers is absolutely one of the builds that I've been considering. I have seen, like, Nashers is probably pretty staple if you're building, like, Blitzcrank. Like Lethal Tempo Blitzcrank jungle is probably just the way to go. You're basically just trying to get to level 6, and once you get to level 6, you're scary again. You're going to need strong laners who can capitalize on your pull if you ever choose to gank. If you're playing for fun, just pick it, it's fine. That's pretty much it. If you are a normals only player, you're allowed to pick this whenever you want, and it will work. Blitzcrank jungle will work. The first clear on Raptors is pretty bad. The first clear as a whole is unironically pretty good. Because I have tried that one. I've tested it. I've seen how it works. I am going to tentatively slot this in my tier list as like something that looks okay. I think it looks fine. I don't think it will define any metas. Skip Raptors till first back. That feels bad, but you might have to, right? Or if you're pathing towards your red buff, you can probably take Raptors. It always feels bad to be a jungler who has to skip a camp. Like, that immediately lowers your power level. Yeah, so I'm not expecting good things for top lane Blitzcrank. This is funny for Relic, by the way. This is funny for Relic. So there's like it's very slightly powered down on support Blitzcrank, which might actually like balance out with this. And the champ is actually disgusting on Drakes, by the way. Blitzcrank will be like doing crazy things on Drakes. Low elo solo queue is going to play him constantly. I guarantee you. Okay. Jungle Blitzcrank is now legitimate. Weak, early clear. Expected to limit its... Or sorry, vulnerable. I'll say vulnerable Early clear expected to limit its power, but if allowed to scale or camp a lane, it could be real. Top lane Blitzcrank likely has too much early vulnerability to thrive. I think it's just too weak. Yeah. AD jungle blitz basically having ES. Okay, yeah, but please don't build AD blitz. I assure you it's not what you want. Please don't do it. It is so much worse than AP blitz. Most of these are going to be small from here on out, right? Echo, what's he getting? Echo's been weak for a few patches now. Okay, first of all, we're gonna, well, I need to close you. We are going to check back on Echo's patch history because I don't remember seeing Echo in the patch notes in a very long time, and I don't think he's received anything recent. Obviously everyone 12-10. Yeah, so, okay, Echo has absolutely no recent changes. This is his first appearance in the patch notes in, like, forever. Third proc damage, the AP ratio is going up. And so is the AP ratio of Chrono Break. And the base damage. Like, all the damage on everything is going up. I mean, that's kind of real, right? Okay, so Echo is not a champion that I have a lot of recent experience with, right? I feel like he's just been in a state for a while where, like, he's fine. Right? He's not the best mid laner. He's not the best laner, specifically. His clear in the jungle is fine. Like, he's utterly inoffensive. And he does reasonable damage, right? So if I had to guess, since just increasing damage doesn't solve, like, doesn't change the way you interact with opponents in mid lane, and it doesn't do anything for your clear early, like, I would expect this to have small impact. Good Echo spots exist in mid lane. They are rare. If you find them, you're happy to have Echo, right? It feels like a very solo queue targeted change, this one. I mean, yeah, it's just very simple. Numbers boost. Echo's reliable damage is higher as he progresses through his build. He is fun. He was reasonably okay as a jungler before this patch. Good Echo opportunities exist, but I don't know what they are. If found, they will feel much better. I mean, like, Echo does a shit ton of damage when he gets, like, a little bit ahead, right? And now this is, like, a consistent part of his damage. It's just higher. So it's good. Like, he's stronger. He has to be stronger. I'm not predicting a lot, though. I'm not predicting a lot. But he has to be stronger. Like, Fizz, they have... Alright. Most of these are going to be very small, right? I mean, Fizz is one of the worst champions in the game. Just full stop. The predictors that I've had in my head, if a pseudo-tank Fizz build ever exists, that is the only thing that can make Fizz competitively viable. You would need to be able to spam E and just, like, you know, it's like running Maiev tank in Heroes of the Storm, right? You would need to be able to spam your invulnerability and, like, receive Enchantress support. And this changes nothing. It's just whatever. Small damage increase doesn't solve any problems. Yeah, so whatever. Garen. Critical strike damage goes from on E goes from 58% to 75%. Okay, so let's see exactly how this works. Okay. Let's see exactly how this works. Remember, Garen itemization is complex, and he has a lot of options, and some of the crit options are not trolling. So this could actually mean something for him. How does it work? Judgment can critically strike for 75% bonus. Okay, well, it's already updated here. So it's just every tick of damage can crit, right? Which actually has a really high AD ratio. So practically, what does that mean for Garen? I mean, okay. Stridebreaker is always core mythic, right? Mortal Reminder very regularly finds its way into Garen builds, and Garen is a champion who literally just deals damage, right? That's what he does. Garen is just damage, and when you're drafting him, you want him to just deal as much damage as possible, right? That's not enough of a boost. Okay, so like practically, this isn't enough of a damage increase to justify crit Garen over anything else or anything more durable. Builds that include Mortal Reminder will benefit, but in practice this doesn't. Yeah, although damage increases are some of the most valuable Garen buffs, this one is far too niche to benefit the champion. Because if this doesn't make crit Garen more appealing than any other Garen, right? Yeah, and you don't always build Mortal Reminder second either. Karibo, I will trust you completely. I'm also thinking of Garen in the context of you're always picking him if you have like an enchanter on your team. Like if you've drafted Zillion and you find a positive Garen matchup, that is a Garen game. So I'm looking at it from the perspective of just like how much Ooga Booga damage can I get when I pick Garen in a spot like that? Because that's like the only situation where someone would competitively pick Garen. And for the record, I really don't think this champion is bad. This champion's like weakness has been so overblown for so long. He's just niche. He's a good champion. He's unironically a good champion. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Okay, moving on to Jinx. I mean, Jinx is a champion that has a 110% AD ratio on rockets. Does she really need the buffs? I mean, like... Okay, early damage up. Yeah, early AD up on a champion with a 110% AD ratio is good. I mean, Jinx is fine, right? Does this open up what does this open up? What does this open up? Because like, you have to worry about Seraphine, you have to worry about Caitlyn, you have to worry about Misfortune. Ezreal is a fine matchup to play into. Sivir, you're always fine in that situation. Kai'Sa can be a little scary, but like... This improves wave clear. Marginally. Slightly more ult damage is neat. Yep. Level 6 spike is stronger. Oops. What did I just do there? I think I'm predicting a small increase in Jinx priority because I think the champion is already reasonably strong. Okay, I think if the AD carry pool gets pinched a little bit from bans, we're gonna start seeing a lot more Jinx. Kai'Sa, passive. 15% per... Sure. What's the current state of AP Kai'Sa? Like, sure, whatever. So, Kaisa did receive some AP ratio increases already. Previously, what they did, they increased detonation, and this is when they got a W. It's so small. It's so small. It's like... Okay, what it means is... Practically what this means. Practically what this means is plus 1% max HP damage on Nashor's completion. AP Kaisa does not have a place even after the 12-16 buffs coupled with this change. Very little impact for most of the game. Right, very little impact, I'm sure. It's slightly more damage. It's just like a little more here. What does Malphite get? Malphite was historically one of the champions I hated most. Like, there was a period when I was, like, Silver and I really hated dealing with Lux. And then it became Malphite. Like, Malphite was the problem child for me. I'm like, wow, that's unfair. Why can he just kill me? That's not fair. I don't like that. He just kills himself to kill me and I can't play the game. That sucks. Oops, sorry. Okay, I am in no position to judge AP Malphite right now. I'm in no position. I think AP Malphite mid, I would imagine it still struggles in lane a lot. I think what this does do is it makes the Everfrost Rush top lane more appealing, and it gives Malphite, like, more options, right? I mean, this is effectively just a niche buff to an already strong champion, so it's hard to assess. It's like, does this make Malphite come back? Is his Everfrost build just ridiculous? If this creates... Okay, hang on. Plus 10% AP on R, plus 10% AP on W. W change is useless outside of lane, but potentially nice inside. If this meaningfully affects Malphite, it's because his Everfrost Rush into less positive matchups has gained a lot more value. So Malphite can go on the watch list. Watch later. More Malphite picks may exist. Yeah, more Malphite pick conditions may exist. I mean, reasonably will they? Probably not, but I'm finding it very difficult to predict exactly what's going to happen with this one, right? Like, specifically top lane Everfrost Malphite is what I'm thinking of. And I just don't have the experience laning against him. I don't know how his lane phase works enough to properly assess what this is going to do. So, unfortunately, there's that. Master Yi. Just, yeah. Alright. On hit ratio down. 80 growth down. Master Yi deals nothing but damage, so damage nerfs are always very harmful. Like, very harmful. This sucks. This sucks to be Yi. However, actually, hold on. On second thought. But how much AD is he really building? He's only losing 1 AD per level. So maybe this is placebo. Actually, no, this might be placebo. Because if he's not building much AD to begin with. No, he doesn't. Right? Bork Sunfire is best right now. Bork Sunfire Ginsu's. is the best way to play Master Yi, especially with especially with an enchanter. So maybe this can't matter too much, because base isn't touched. So he's probably not meaningfully weaker than he was before. And yeah, what I said about AP Malphite Karibo is just, I can't imagine it doing much in mid, and the only thing it would really do is if these numbers, I don't know how Malphite's laning works well enough to assess this, but if Thunderclap AP ratio gives more value to Everfrost Rush Malphite, then maybe he finds more situations in which he can be picked, and if Malphite has more situations in which he can be picked, then Malphite becomes a very big problem very fast. So I just can't assess the Everfrost Rush right now. I haven't played the lane. I'll have to do it at some point. Oh, right. This one. Okay. I'm just going to say it. Big winner of the patch right here. Yeah, so... Holy shit. A few weeks ago, I decided to run some Nasus support experiments, and I discovered that Nasus is not nearly as niche as I thought he was. Originally, I thought there are very specific situations to run Nasus, right? You need specific AD carries at your side, and you need specific types of enemies at your side. I have discovered that that's not true. He just fucking kills everybody in bot lane. So, as long as you still have, like, the right type of AD carry beside you, right? You still need either, but it's not limited to just lethality users. It's just any early bully, right? So I learned Nasus support is much, much, much better than I thought, because it's not really a niche pick. And then he gets this. And guys, I don't think I need to tell you how incredible a 71% cripple is. If you see a 1 or 2 carry comp, picking Nasus is probably almost universally correct. If you still have, like, support on 5. This, for top lane, as Karibo mentioned, very big. 50 range in the top lane is a big deal compared to 25. I'm really, now that I'm playing a lot more top lane phases, I'm really experiencing how much, like, little amounts of range like this can matter. Like, guys, Yone becomes a poke champion in the top lane. Do you know how alien that is to someone who's only played Yone mid? Like... And then increase size, whatever, except AoE radius of Nasus' damage now increases based on his size. So, let's take a peek at what that damage is. Okay? Let's take a peek. The damage is 1.5% of the target's maximum health, up to 2.5, and it scales with AP. Yeah, okay, that's pretty good to have on somebody. Okay. So let's take a peek at what the range is, because they've so kindly provided the formula to us, right? Okay, so it's not actually that big. It's not actually that big. So at level 16, it's only gaining an extra 32 radius. My bad, I dropped my calculator. It's really not that big from Nasus's kits alone. So that only still, that remains a factor only when people are diving onto Nasus. Which is actually still pretty good, right? Like it... Because Frostfire factors in. I mean, not for long. Because preseason items are changing everything. But... Okay, so what I'm going to assume... Okay. Cripple increasing to... 71.25% at max W rank. Makes him absolutely overwhelming as a support versus an ADC vulnerable to that. No, versus any auto attacker. Versus any auto attacker. Q plus 25 range is major for added safety in the top lane, which may actually create more practical Nasus angles. Our buffs are very small, practically plus 40 radius at level 16. And what are the bug fixes? Alright, whatever. So, yeah, exactly. I mean, like, it's... The damage isn't up, right? The damage isn't up, but it's easier for him to hit you. Oh, it's so much easier for him to hit you back. Like, guys, it's going from a 47% cripple to a 71% cripple. Like, unironically, Nasus support might be top 5 in the game now. I'm actually so sure of it. Like, people may scoff at the Nasus support thing a little bit, but, like, I gave it the time of day, I decided to try it, and I was very, very rewarded for trying it. Like, holy shit. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for this. It's absolutely absurd. I'm going to preempt my alarm so the sound doesn't get into my recording, guys. I have to go give my dog her pill. So I will be right back. I'm back. That's the wrong button. Producing this one. Yeah, wither range is like 700, right? 700. Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. It's not real. This is... it's not real. Like... It's not real. I remember playing a Kog'Maw, like a game against a Kog'Maw in tournaments a few weeks ago. And the enemy team had drafted like Janna Ivern beside the Kog'Maw. And it's like, oh geez, how do we deal with this? And... I realized that if I had picked Nasus, Kog'Maw would become basically useless, which is actually huge. How long do they stay at max cripple for? So, they increase every second over the duration. So it starts at 35%, and it very rapidly ramps up, right? You gain 11% cripple per second, you gain 15% slow per second. Plus... You guys do realize that Wither can be, like, Wither can have 100% uptime, right? Wither can actually, unironically, on the Nasus support builds, have maybe 1 second of downtime. So it doesn't matter that they're not at the actual max cripple forever. They're still getting a massive, 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 massive damage reduction over the course of a fight. So, but the champ is already strong enough that even, like, this, right? This is great. This is great. I was so sad when they removed it from Worlds patch because I was going to spam it. But, fuck. Now. Oh my god. Okay, that's a solo queue buff. Wait, is it? Plus... Actually, hold on. No, hold on, guys. Okay, so what I just wrote in my notes. It looks like a solo Q buff. If this damage becomes noticeably way too high, that means Nunu now scales a little bit. And if Nunu scales a little bit, then he's competitively playable, right? He's just a nuisance. Alright, but this is so funny for solo queue. Okay, another big winner of the patch is Rakan, because they say it's an off-meta buff, but it's not. It's not. It's just a Rakan buff. Plus 10% AP on P and plus 10% AP on Q is just an overall strong Rakan buff. So, ideal way to play Rakan, right? Ideal way to play Rakan actually treats AP as a core stat for him, right? He should be building AP. That's why I was rushing Zhonya's before it got nerfed, and frankly, Rakan should probably still do it. Like, it's just so worth for him to have, like, for him to spend all his money on AP. He should be buying Darkseal every single game, so he always benefits from this. He should be buying Spell Thieves whenever he's capable of doing it, which, you know, granted is not super often. Regular Rakan supports will find ways to make use of these buffs, and these are good buffs. Like, the damage, okay, sure, it's damage. It's on the damage, not the heal, which is a little unfortunate. But the shield, guys, it's the shield. You're, like... Also support Rakan, so they acknowledge that this is, like, good for him. Now, the big problem right now is, like, what the hell does Rakan rush? What does he rush? He hates he's bound to Shirelias a little bit. Let's actually take a peek, right? Oh, yeah, I made this gimmick set for a joke, like... let's just go here. So, I mean, if I look at my options, what can I build? What can I build? What can I actually unironically rush? Because Rakan doesn't get any value off Moonstone. He doesn't get any value off Mandate, because he's not looking for damage, he's looking for AP. There's a difference, right? I mean, are we actually reduced to this? No, hear me out. Yeah, because look at our options, right? 2,800 is like at the upper limit of what a support wants to rush. 3,000 really bad. 3,000. I mean, this is really good as a second item formerly on Rakan. I used to actually go like Zhonya's Cosmic, like skip Mythic sometimes because build path is fine. You can sit on these components and you're happy, right? But like everything is so expensive for AP. Itemization is not in an amazing spot to support specifically Rakan. But eventually when a systemic change comes, Rakan might be broken. Just, like, unironically look at Medjai's rush. Like, I'm not even kidding. Just fucking rush Medjai's, maybe. Like... So yeah, most likely this is good for Rakan, always. We're going to have to do some experimentation just because his itemization is in a bad spot. And because his itemization is in a bad spot, he can't be a top tier support. But this is great. Like, this is really good. Rek'Sai, base AD decreased. Okay, doesn't change much for me. Rek'Sai. That's actually a lot in a combo, isn't it? Oops. So 50% okay, so no impact on Queen's Wrath. No impact, no impact. No impact. No impact, no impact. Okay. -3 base AD doesn't affect Rek'Sai's abilities. It only hits her clear speed. Expected minor impact in solo queue. No impact in comp. Here's a fun champion we haven't seen in a while. Dude, this is actually nice, because none of these champions have been in the patch notes lately, and I don't have to compare them against older buffs and, like, actually track their progress. Like, this is very much a one-and-done sort of patch, right? What does he get? He gets plus 5 AP ratio on Q, and plus 10 AP ratio on W. Okay. Just watched. What? Actually, no, hold on. Ryze actually has received a string of changes. Let's check them. Let's check what I said about him on each of them. Where is Ryze? Where's Blue Man? Because Blue Man is about to be good again, just not yet. That's what I think. So, on 12-11, he received the most nothing hotfix I've ever seen that reduced his Q cooldown. Yeah, cool. Good job, guys. He did gain increased AP. He did gain increased E damage. He gained increased E damage multiple times. He gained an increased AP ratio on Q. He gained a reduced mana ratio on Q on 12-7. Okay, so on 12-7, what did I say? 12-7, I said more damage nerfs for tank Ryze. I cannot envision AP Ryze being strong right now. I was probably right. On 12-11, I can't explain why Q is getting buffed, or why it's not Q getting buffed. Okay, so I was kind of like really harsh on this one, where I said it's like it might even be a nerf because Ryze doesn't struggle with mana and now heals less from Seraphs, but Seraphs is pretty trash anyway. And ultimately, wait, minus AP ratio? What the fuck? No, it's plus 5% AP. How did I misread that so hard? Okay, so what do we get? Why am I here? How did I end up here? Wait, what? Oh my god, did I click, like... Okay, so apparently if you click Ryze, yeah, gotcha. Increased AP ratios on Q and W. This is Ryze's 4th consecutive ratio buff. At this point, he may actually have playable builds. He will become legitimately strong again when Rod of Ages is reintroduced to the game. Start exploring Ryze again. Yeah, okay. So, I think Ryze might be saved. 12-7, 12-11, 12-11 again, 12-19, and soon, Rod of Ages. Okay? A lot of AP ratio buffs. And yeah, Ryze is still a champion who his itemization can still be a problem because he is still, he's still struggling with some durability stuff. But as soon as that problem is gone, yeah. He is about to be strong, and I think he's probably playable now. I think he's probably playable. And Ryze is the kind of champion who, when he's good, is really, 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 really appealing to have on your team. He just does everything, right? He's got great wave clear. He's got great side lane presence. He's got macro tools. He's got setup. Like, he's just awesome. Everyone loves having a Ryze on their team when Ryze is strong. Giving her best builds are her tank ones. That's true. Okay. So bonus AD ratio on W is increased. Bonus on hit magic damage on W. I didn't know it had that. Hang on, let's actually explore what that is, because I've never heard of that before and I want to see what it is. And I'm not comfortable making an assessment on Shyvana until I know what that is, right? God, she looks so bad in her model. Please update this champion. Why is she so lanky? Like, during this time, Shyvana's... Oh. For some reason, I didn't know that. Because I knew this one. Okay, so there actually is just a small tank Shyvana nerf here. Damage on both builds is up. This one by a lot. Okay. Many small numbers changes across most abilities. Tank Shyvana loses this affects her Drake DPS. So yeah, this affects her Drake's DPS. Plus 20% AP on E projectile. This affects her Drake DPS. Base damage on Dragon E also being reduced is harmful to tank builds. Plus 20% AP on E projectile. Plus 30% AP. That's human. Is good for early skirmishing. Plus 30% AP on R dash means nothing unless specifically on a demonic tank build. AP cannot dash in. 80 builds aren't real and will not benefit from W. No Bork value in 80 ratios. Or it's like negligible value. Okay, so what do I have to predict? Yeah, exactly. Can't wait till Shojin's back. That's true. They might I mean, I don't even know if Shyvana's going to be a Shojin user. But now that you mention it, it could happen. It could happen. And that would make AD builds real. So, okay. This sucks for tank Shyvana. I just don't know how much it sucks. Hybrid ship, I think that's probably on the right track, Grebo. We will need to assess the power of hybrid Shyvana, and if it meets or exceeds old tank Shyvana, then she is fine. Otherwise, Shyvana might actually be weakened by these buffs. I'm going to put a question mark beside that so we can assess. Okay, guys? So you guys are going to have to help me with that one in 2 weeks. Why are we buffing this champ? Q base damage increase is negligible. Actually, hold on. Let me check something. Because we're just talking Hymn of Valor's like actual projectile, right? That's all we're talking about. Yeah, because I didn't mention the bonus magic damage. Okay, so because if this was actually effectively plus 50 because it's the aura, then that's big. But it's not. It's the projectile, so it's almost nothing. E power cord increase. Slow increase is major. Neither. Creates more Sona angles. But Sona really should be a default if you're looking for scaling enchanters. Like, Sona's good. Sona's good. She didn't need buffs, but the buffs she received are very small. Tahm Kench. What does this have? Okay. So it's plus 20% AP on Q, plus 25% AP on W. I mean, who does this help? AP Tahm Kench has never really been a thing. Until now. Maybe. I mean, Demonic. I mean, Tahm Kench top lane still doesn't have a lot of amazing lanes. Not Luden's Kench, no. The only way this matters, guys, is if top lane Kench finds an angle to build Demonic. Which means you, first of all, have to have a window where top lane Kench is okay. And then you have to, like, be allowed to build Demonic. Which, frankly, I think he is allowed to build. It's probably allowed to build. Sometimes. Karibo, you're the top lane expert. Are there is Tahm Kench? Are there a lot of Kench windows? Like, are there a lot of situations where it's like, ah, God, I have to play against Kench, I lose now? Because I really feel that, like, ever since his E got nerfed for solo lanes, he's been kind of absent for good reason. Yeah, exactly. When he's good, but I don't think he's good right now. And I'm wondering if you have some insight into his laning phase that I am missing. Because we all know about the reign of Tahm Kench. Like, we know what happens when Tahm Kench rules top lane. He's such a valuable asset, and he's such a problem. Like, how many more? Twitch, Udyr. Oh, that's it. It's just Twitch, Udyr, Eclipse. Beautiful. Then we're going to move on for a little bit. And if I hear back on Tahm Kench, that's awesome. Twitch. What did he gain? Okay, plus 0.5% AP on... Actually, what is this? What is this? Effectively a plus 3% AP ratio increase on passive burn per second, assuming full stacks, plus 2% AP on E. Very marginal buffs. You had a fun top lane game as him earlier today against the Shen. Okay. I just want to point out that Shen is extremely range limited. And if Shen commits on to Tahm Kench ever, he will lose. So that matchup sounds utterly unplayable for Shen. That is literally best case scenario. So that's probably not the best matchup. Yeah, because remember, Shen has 125 auto range, and his mobility is on like a... He has no extra reach, and his mobility is on like a 18-second cooldown or something. Both rushed Goliath. Goliath probably makes Kench a lot more appealing, actually, because he's a health stacker. Huh. Anyway, I don't think this Twitch buff is very much of anything, but maybe passive. Maybe passive. Would have to experiment with AP Twitch again. I mean, like, AP Twitch already overkills from ahead. Maybe this small boost. Yeah, so I don't expect this small burn increase to change anything. In fact, you know, I bet you this will actually lower his win rate because people are going to start playing AP Twitch more and they don't know how to play it. Because I don't know how to play it. Oh, hang on. Per stack. Hold on. Per stack. Hold on. Per stack. Hold on. 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 Guys. Uh-oh. Hold on. Hold on. I was fucking wrong. Uh-oh. No, I was so wrong. I was so wrong. I was so wrong. It's not even funny. Hang on. Hang on. Hang on. Steven did the math for me. Wait, no, it's not a 20% increase to the AP ratio. What? No, that's not right. Because it's six stacks capped. It's 12% increased. A 20% increase to... No, because it's 0.5 per stack. And there's only 6 stacks. Which is a 3% increase. That's not how the math works. So before it was 15. Now it's 18. Oh, okay. Oh, I see what you mean. But why would I ever think about it like that when honestly, like, the damage, the actual, if we're looking at it from a more absolute way like I am, the damage really does not increase very much at all, right? So that is misleading, because when you hear the ratio increased by 20%, that sounds like a fucking huge buff. It's like, oh my god, really? If I build a Gnasher's Tooth, I'm doing 3 more damage on full stacks per second. 3. Like, so I don't want to say it like that. That's really bad. This one though, holy shit, guys, I was wrong. I was really, really, really wrong. Oh no. So a 12% AP ratio increase on Contaminates. Given how fast AP Twitch nukes people from ahead, this could be a problem for his snowball, as he is now more threatening before 100 to zeroing somebody. This also bolsters his scaling because Death Cap is so appealing. Practically, the scaling doesn't matter for support Twitch, but all forms of AP Twitch are scarier. Now, the big thing that balances this out is that AP Twitch scales worse. It scales worse. Yeah, passive only does damage if you're AP, Steven. Because, like, frankly, this really isn't that bad. It's just the increase is bad. The increase is not good. Because, honestly, it's still, like... Think about this. If I have Gnasher's Tooth, 100 AP... That's an 18% ratio. That's 18 damage a second for, like, you know, decent amount of time, right? That's not bad. That means your passive is actually doing damage. It's just the increase sucks. How do I assess this? This is fucking weird. Okay, what do I know about AP Twitch? What do I know about AP versus AD Twitch? What do I know about his lane phase? Because we have to consider AP Twitch in AD carry and support. And apparently also mid. There's apparently a mid AP Twitch thing that exists, and I don't know a single thing about it, so I can't assess it. Oh my god, it boosts wave clear. Oh my god, it boosts wave clear. It boosts wave clear. It boosts wave clear. This increases wave clear. How good is this? How good is this? How good is this? How good is this? How good is Twitch mid? Is this a star? Do I start like do I put a star on this entry? Is this one of the big winners of the patch? Is this one of the big winners of the patch? Okay, well, let's come back to it. Let's move on to Udyr for a moment, who is getting another set of changes. On hit heal against minions, he's healing more against minions, he's doing more... Okay, it is top lane exclusive buffs to Udyr. QP and R damage to minions increased. W heal against minions increased. W heal on hit increased against minions. I mean, he's probably solid, no? This likely equalizes his strength between rules, implying I was wrong about his flex potential last patch. I mean, it doesn't do anything for jungle Udyr, but it makes top lane Udyr fine, and like top lane Udyr is where you actually get the income for Q to really do something, and so like maybe possible bear Udyr top is the best way to play him right now. And then systems buffs, not buffs, Eclipse. Oh boy, this is big. Okay. Lethality from 18 to 12. It's become popular on several bruiser champions and is generally outperforming other fighter mythic items. That is true. It's also been the best lethality on mythic on assassins and ranged lethality users for quite some time. Also true. It's just the best. We're taking down its overall power, looking to reshape the item to better fit the stats fighters would like moving forward while still keeping it as a valuable purchase for assassins. Okay. Let's compare this to Prowler's Claw, because I don't know how much lethality Prowler's gives. Okay, Prowler's gives 18, Duskblade gives less, right? No, Duskblade also gives less. Okay. Now gives less lethality than the other lethality mythics. This means it may not be the best for damage anymore. Now, we must factor in how powerful Eclipse passive is. So, at earlier levels, the difference between 18 and 12 lethality is like 5 flat pen. Which matters. It does matter. Because at earlier levels, people have less armor, so the flat pen, like, does more. Senna has nothing to switch to, and I don't... Is this net power down? Is this net power down? Is this net power down? Probably marginally, but Senna's so good that it can't matter. Draven actually just loves the extra AD on it, so I don't think he cares at all. Hecarim shouldn't care. This hurts her healing a lot. I want people to stop, like... Okay, I just realized the way I was about to phrase that might have sounded like flame, right? Do not pretend that the lethality ratio on Senna's Q matters. Because realistically, it does very, very, very little. That's actually why I stopped building mythicless utility Senna. Because the thing that I used to have when... I used to have an Umbral Serpent's Rush, and it was broken. And they nerfed the values on that, and then I looked back into it, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, this... It was like Umbral Serpent's Yumus. That was like my build. Mythicless Lethality, because those were just more valuable for the utility, and I was also valuing the healing. But then it turned out that the healing I was gaining from having those items was not substantial. Yeah, it's pretty negligible. You're losing, again, it's a 160% lethality ratio on Senecue for the heal. So you're losing, like, sub 10 healing. Like, around 10 healing, maybe. Probably, like, actually 10, 12 healing. That's it. And that, who cares? Especially when the actual AD increase is compensating for that, too, right? Okay. For every example I can think of, Senna, Draven, Hecarim, Bruisers, like, etc., they are properly compensated for the lethality decrease by the AD increase, since all have great ratios. Actual assassins probably pivots to prowlers sometimes. Who else? Does anyone have like a good example of an Eclipse user that might actually be harmed by this? Like another bruiser that I haven't thought of, like, as I've thought of Senna and Draven and Hecarim. We've thought of... One second, I just need more examples. I mean, Samira was doing it like a little bit as a niche thing once upon a time, but I don't think is anymore. Jhin doesn't have a build for that. I'm just looking at the 80 carries right now. Graves is probably compensated for, like, by the AD. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is slightly... Prowler's Claw Supremacy, true. Practically the difference between Eclipse and Prowlers now is around 5 pen for much of the game. Wait, not around 5 pen. Rek'Sai builds Prowlers. Yep, Rek'Sai would never not build Prowlers. Graves is probably a good call-out, but Graves always does really, really like it when he just gets injections of AD. He is the champion most affected by base AD changes. So this is fine. Nocturne wouldn't build it. Xinjiao? Aatrox! Does this affect Aatrox? Oh, this might harm Aatrox. Okay. Aatrox actually depended on the pen for healing output, so we must compare Eclipse to Gore Drinker again. Aatrox could actually be affected by that. Yes, Aatrox's default is Eclipse right now. And that happened after 1210 because people weren't healing enough on Gore, so they just really wanted, the... Because, like, I think the best Aatrox build right now is probably Eclipse Cyrilda's, and that just, like, pumps your healing numbers to ludicrous proportions. Because you're just doing more damage, right? Who else would be harmed by this? Oh, fucking Rost, too. Rost isn't happy. Lee Sin has funny builds where he takes this, but, you know, he's got Prowlers, he's got Gore, it doesn't really matter. Vi? Does it matter on Vi? Like, she's not a default Eclipse user, but it's a good option for her. I'm checking the top laners now. Only the champions who depended on the actual penetration because of some post-mitigation effect will end up caring about this. It is a marginal damage decrease on most users. I mean, I don't think Senna's going to be actually... Okay, so basically, this might make Fiora build this, and that's really funny. I'd like to learn more about that at some point. So basically, none of the Eclipse users really care except specifically Aatrox. The change is because, like, this compensates on everybody who has high AD ratios, which is most of its users. Actual true assassins probably should be running Prowlers. And we're not comparing Duskblade because Duskblade is just like really niche compared to the other two. Like the other two just do more than Duskblade right now. And the haste doesn't really factor in super often. So none of the core Eclipse users will lose substantial power for being Eclipse users, except possibly Aatrox. This could be the Aatrox nerf we're looking for, and it will just take some math. So I will ask my Aatrox players how they feel. We have a few things to revisit. Actually, we'll just check this. So Janna's gotten a VFX update, and this is just objectively a buff to Janna, hidden in the VFX update. Allies get to see where Janna's Q is going. Enemies don't. Allies do. Big. One of the most fucking broken supports in the game right now, by the way, especially with Renata nerfed, with Lulu nerfed, with, like, everyone else nerfed. Like, Janna's not fair. She is only gated by being kind of a counter pick. You can't blind pick Janna, but if you find Janna, you win the game. Yep. Okay, bug fixes. This is the best change I've ever seen in my life. This is the best change ever. This is so good. This is so good. And the rest of them are just challenges. Okay, skins. This is a good skin. I think a lot of the Spirit Blossoms... Oh yeah, I love the splash for Spirit Blossom Soraka, but I don't know if they made her purple enough, and I'm kind of frustrated about that, because I'm tired of Soraka being a white woman. Absolutely gorgeous skin. I'll probably be picking it up because it's a Soraka skin, and that is my champion. Okay. Yes, and Yorick getting a skin too, like one of the most forgotten champions in the game actually getting something is lovely. Okay, so to recap, guys, the Syndra mid-scope update does not fundamentally change what she's good at, but it does increase her damage throughout the game and give her some better trading patterns, so she's going to be quite a lot better, and since she's a staple whenever she's good, we're going to start seeing her again. Blitzcrank, very funny changes. Blitzcrank jungle is legitimate. It's not top tier, it's not, like, really strong, but you can play it, and it's fine, and, you know, I'd even go so far as to say it's probably good. Echo, nice. Good damage increase. He likes this. He appreciates this, and I might be underrating it a little bit because it's, like, reliable damage, but, like, he's got other problems, and I'm like, yeah, cool, Echo buffs. This is nice. This is nice. Fizz, no, doesn't change anything. Garen changes practically nothing. Jinx, when we have more AD carry bans, we probably will start to see a lot more Jinx, because I think she's good, and this is just really nice for her early game. This is negligible, and it's just really buffing Kai'Sa for, like, end game when she has Nashers. This, I cannot properly assess because it's basically just, it comes down to a question. If Everfrost Malphite has more laning conditions for top lane, then Malphite is more pickable, and when Malphite is more pickable, Malphite is really good. Master Yi, he only does damage, but it looks almost like a placebo nerf, because practically he's not losing that much damage. Especially with the current state of his builds, right? Oh god, I'm really, really afraid of, what could he build? If Master Yi can build Sunfire, and the damage is not being reduced, and Sunfire is not a mythic anymore, that means he's allowed to go Bork, Sunfire, Ginsu's, and, like, he could still buy Shield Bow. He could still buy one of the new tank mythics. He could build, like, he could build Gale, or if he really wanted to, I guess. It's probably always a marksman mythic, come to think of it, but... Oh my god, wait, no, oh my god. Why am I forgetting Kraken? The on-hit champion who can build Bork Sunfire Kraken. Bork Sunfire Ginsu's Kraken. Okay, that's scary. God help us if he ever gets that much money. Why specifically Everfrost on Malph? Because Malphite in top lane doesn't really have any, like, Luden's conditions or, like, Leandri's value. And we're not talking about mid lane Malphite right now, because just giving mid lane Malphite more damage doesn't solve the problems that he has, so it's not going to, like, make him appear more. So we talk about specifically Everfrost because, like, that's what you would run in top lane as a pivot into a more durable build. Unless you just get uber fed and then go Everfrost into AP. Then we talked about Nasus, and these buffs are absolutely insane. Unironically, True! Rod of Ages Malphite! Oh my god, okay. But we'll have to talk about that later, right? We'll talk about that later. Nasus, we talked about how Wither is just going to be ridiculous here. Nasus, unironically, probably approaching top 5 supports in the game, and this is really good for top lane too, for top lane safety. This changes very little, but Nasus is one of the big winners of the patch. Nunu, very funny change. It looks like a solo queue buff, but if, you know, if something funny happens and Nunu turns out to scale really, really, really well because he just increased his AP ratio by 50, then he actually had some pick conditions, because a Nunu that doesn't have to Giga Snowball and is still useful, you know, his isn't amazing, but because if Nunu doesn't get to Snowball, he's not amazing, but having a contingency plan is nice. Contingency plans on early game champions are always good. This change is very good for Rakan. This will meaningfully improve his power, but not right now, because his itemization is not amazing, so we have to wait for some systemic changes. And when those come, Rakan's on the watch list, so we gotta watch out. Rek'Sai, not super, super big. Slows her clear, which makes it harder for her to get, like, really gross ganks off. Ryze, this is his 4th consecutive AP ratio buff. Ryze is in a playable state. I guarantee he's in a playable state. When we hit preseason and get Rod of Ages, he will be very good. That's what I think. Shyvana, we have concerns about tank Shyvana being nerfed, but if hybrid Shiv in exchange, like, you know, Nashor's Frostfire, Demonic Embrace, equals its power level, then we're fine. We're fine. But it's, you know, it's a weird, like, up and down, like, adjustment sort of change. So we'll have to wait and see how this one pans out, because it doesn't look amazing for tank Shiv. Sona, pretty minor, pretty negligible. This is nice. She doesn't need buffs. Tahm Kench, if we find conditions where he builds Demonic Embrace top lane, sure, cool. That's some more damage, but, you know, it's top lane Tahm Kench, and he still has a shitty shield, and I don't know very much about him. And this matters for Kench players optimizing his items, like the people who are already going to be playing Kench, right? This is low-key a gigantic buff to Twitch, and we are struggling to assess it in its entirety, because it's like, well, when is it better than AD Twitch in the AD carry role? Does the increased wave clear give Twitch mid more situations in which he can function? Does this give Twitch support more damage earlier, so it, like, is, like, if he can survive before first base, is he actually threatening, like, more consistently? Those are the questions we have. It looks like a major buff because each one of these is per stack, and I really need to read before I start assessing, but we're struggling to really, really, really appreciate how this will impact things, but it's looking promising. And Udyr, this just makes his top lane way better, and bare top lane Udyr might be the best way. And then finally we wrapped up with Eclipse and said, like, on 90% of users this changes nothing, and they're still going to build Eclipse, and they're not going to be nerfed for being Eclipse users. It's like a very marginal marginal decrease in damage because the penetration is a little worse. Pure assassins might go more towards prowlers, some of them already do, and the only people who actually really care about this are Aatrox and Rost, and they need to be reassessed to see if we go back to gore on Aatrox. Yeah. I mean, no, because you have reduced penetration, and so, I mean, relative damage, I guess. It's the divide between the damage you're dealing to squishies and tanks is now slightly smaller, I guess, but that doesn't mean your damage is increased against tanks. I say mid lane Twitch, but realistically, I know absolutely fucking nothing about mid lane Twitch. I said I know it exists. I've heard it exists. I can't assess it. I'd like to see what it's all about at some point. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I need like an icon that's just like, hey, nice. Well, that's everything, guys. Okay, but I'm still not going to accept the question until, like, we can actually math it out and show. I need more calculators. I need more calculators to work with. Do you know what you guys can help me with? If anybody in this chat is willing, I need to know what is the standard, like, standard amount of health and resistances on different champion archetypes throughout the game. I have a collector versus LDR calculator that I've made, and I need to run experiments on it, but it's hard to do so. I actually have a feeling, that my calculator has revealed there are a few situations in which collector is better than LDR, but I need to actually go through the process of, like, doing the study, and that's the data I need. Yeah, which is why we would be like, oh, okay, so here's, like, you know, at, like, 20 minutes, if I'm hitting the average, like, top lane bruiser, if I'm hitting the average jungle bruiser, I'm hitting the average AD carry, I'm hitting the average, like, mage, or... Well, we can like, lump the squishies together, right? We can lump the squishies, but it's like, if I'm hitting, like, this type of average target, what's going on? Because, like, I have to do a bunch of tests with each champion. It's actually looking like Samira should unironically be building Collector, but I can't draw that conclusion yet until I've finished the study. Like, it looks like it's just generally the higher your AD ratios and the more you're able to cast spells rather than auto attack, the better Collector is for you. Because it's like, should Samira even be hitting tanks to begin with? Kinda no. She shouldn't be in a game with a bunch of tanks. So that makes Collector a lot more appealing. But I haven't drawn any conclusions. I just got tired of, like, you know, because when you look at the numbers at face value, it really looks like LDR is amazing, but then I looked a little more deeply because I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of not having the actual math beside me. Almost done? What do you mean? Huh? Steven's gonna give me some bullshit where it's like he averaged out everything. When stream is done. Oh! Oh, sure. If you have something to automate that. Yes, absolutely. 100%. That actually helps a lot if you have automation. I was making fun of you because I'm like, oh, you're gonna use, like, the Vandrel 3 trillion health from PvE as an outlier and skew the average, aren't you? Yeah, so there was a 3 trillion health Wukong in a practice tool game earlier today. I would just like you to know that. This is a cool patch, and most of these changes mean virtually nothing. And I'd be like, yeah, because like, because I'm not a Kench player. Yeah, I'm not a Kench player, but like Kench players will experiment with this change. I'm not a Nunu player, but Nunu players will experiment with this change, right? Kai'Sa players might experiment with this change. They'll have some fun. Garen players might have some fun, right? Like, but as far as like changes for the competitive landscape. And remember, it's specifically, like, Platinum, Diamond, Masters, Amateur play that matters to me. Yet, frankly, Nunu might start to matter. Okay, I'm tired. I need to eat. I need to sleep, like, nap. I need to do some projects because I'm really behind on my clips work. I announced this earlier today on Twitter. It's looking very, very, very probable that the magic damage video releases this week. It's looking very good for that to happen. And I'm super excited about it because it has taken me like 4 months of research and script writing and like just making sure all my edge cases are covered, and so it's looking really good. And thank you. I feel good about my games. I'm a little upset about my Lux performance. I think my Lux performance was very poor. Like, KDA-wise was not bad, but I had a few times where I got caught stupidly and my skill shot accuracy was very poor. But I was really shocked at how good Rel felt in a situation like that. And I mean, I always pilot Karma well. I am an Oshi. I always pilot Karma well. She's probably my best champion. No, not where's the probably. She is my best champion. I am fucking disgusting on Karma. I am excellent at Karma. I'm allowed to say that. I can boost my confidence a little bit. I am excellent at Karma. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. Don't forget to live yourselves, respect each other. I will see you all later. Tomorrow, no stream. I'm hanging out with my friends. Thursday, stream. We're trying to make playoffs in another league, the VRS. Right. So, I'll see you all then. Bye, guys.